Okay, after reading chapter 7 and looking at the convictions that Mark Knoll has, even on what Luther was saying about the gospel, it was clear that Luther was he had his two biggest factors, like theological factors, and his understanding of the gospel, which ultimately led to how he understood salvation. Was it started in the basis of that we carry original sin as human beings, so that makes us unrighteous by default, and that's found on page 131. But then also the righteousness of God by default that he observes in Romans 1, where God it's a part of his character that he is righteous, and so Martin Luther, in his own personal struggles, was struggling to understand the grace of God, that it's a gift that isn't bought, which he saw over and over again in the Roman church, which ultimately led him to stand against it. And his theological basis of standing against the church was scripture. He found it in Romans, he found it in Psalms, and the more that he studied scripture, the more that he opposed the Roman church. And so with that foundation of scripture, he was able to stand against it by making those 95 theses, and pretty much trying to eliminate that doctrine and idea that you have to earn your salvation, because in reality it is a gift. And that's what Luther was able to discover in his study of the scriptures. Now, to flip it over, as a German that is trying to understand the gospel and what salvation looks like. So once Luther was able to understand his salvation as it is a gift of God, it was still being seen as a purchase. It was something to be bought, which was found in the indulgences of the Roman church. That would be really freeing to hear Luther's message about salvation being a gift and it by grace through faith and faith alone, which would be super refreshing to see, but hard to understand because it's just practiced so common that there's a religious mindset in having to earn and buy God's favor and acceptance. And so thanks to Luther, there was a lot of freedom, liberty in understanding and hope that Jesus truly does provide in his sacrifice and in the resurrection. So yeah, that's what my thought process would be as a German trying to understand what Luther's saying with his message of salvation. So yeah.